After building up a well of good faith and genuine outpouring of consumer support, the likes of which virtually no game or game company has enjoyed in 10 to 20 years, Helldivers 2 has elected to flush the majority of it straight down the toilet by introducing the PlayStation Network linkage requirements. Due to technical issues at the launch of Helldivers 2, we allowed the linking requirements for Steam accounts to PlayStation Network accounts to be temporarily optional. This grace period will now expire. See details below in this post. So, to continue to play Helldivers 2, you must link your Steam account to the PlayStation Network accounts, which, here's the thing as well, this isn't only a mild inconvenience, and it is an inconvenience, nor is it not for the role stated. Account linking plays a critical role in protecting our players and upholding the values of safety and security. Bullshit. Arrowhead. The PlayStation Network is not exactly known as a bastion of security. In fact, you are opening yourself up to significantly greater dangers by signing up to the PlayStation Network than you are simply remaining on Steam. But the real reason why a lot of people are objecting to this, to the point of managing to tank Helldivers ratings down to mixed, and again, this was probably the single most popular with consumers game released in the last decade, probably, which is now getting a review bombed and is having a large quantity of number of people asking for refunds, because this will link you to the PlayStation Network Terms of Service and Code of Conduct. When you create an account, you agree to abide by the Community Code of Conduct, which outlines how players should interact on the PlayStation networks, which of course introduces the usual codes of conduct, the hate speech policies, and a whole host of other things. As with most TOSs these days, it is a read and a half that you are agreeing to here, and you are signing away the majority of your rights online by doing so. Furthermore, you are also opening yourself up to having your account, and thus your Helldivers 2 account, suspended. For what reason? Well, for in essence, whatever reason PlayStation so chooses. There are no exceptions for using hateful language or slurs in any form on PlayStation networks. This incidentally also include, let me see if I can get back to the TOS policy here. Yes, let's see here. Do not be vulgar or offensive, so that also includes vulgarity. Even if the context is light-hearted, non-serious, or used as a rip-appropriation. While players may think it is appropriate to use profanity among friends or jokingly insult each other, there are consequences to posting offensive content or using offensive language on the PlayStation Network. So, now, in Helldivers 2, if you say something mean even to your friends, if you use an insult long known to be a joke in your friend group, well, I'm very sorry, that is now a bannable offense. How could they possibly figure that one out? Well, following this update, users are seeing notification about party safety, and their voice chats in parties may be recorded. Voice chat recording for moderation is a feature that will be available on PS5 when it launches, and will enable users to record their voice chats on PS5 and submit them for moderation review. PlayStation can moderate your chats, and there were reports of them moderating chats without requests either. They're also training an AI to do this, and just to continue on here as well, just how seriously PlayStation takes any idea of harassment and so on in the modern day context. Well, they are apparently preparing to use anti-harassment technology via AI, not merely just to monitor your chat, which is a hopeless task in and of itself, but also to plug into your goddamn PlayStation goggles, etc., and monitor your biometric signals for sign of harassment. See, the big point here is that Sony's definition of harassment or hate speech or whatever is simply just going to continue to grow forever and ever, because the hate speech policy in and of itself is a political policy. The right, the conservatives, do not give two shits about hate speech. It is a DEI-introduced tool to continue to monitor and to police online interactions, which is exactly what is intended to do here, as even if the intent is not to provide offense, you will still potentially be banned for it. This is a tool to police free speech and nothing more. There is no excuse whatsoever to intervene in the established banter of a friend group, the context of which is known to be friendly, and start trying to ban people for it. And again, it's not like, they might not do this accidentally. After unexplained bans, PlayStation users' reported accounts have been restored. There were hundreds of reports of users locked out of their PlayStation account and systems without warning on Monday. PlayStation's own systems are not capable of policing this effectively or safely, and you may now at any time risk losing access to your account and hoping and praying that the PlayStation, policy or response team will be able to restore it to you, regardless of what you've done. And if you decided to use a slur against one of your friends, well, you best hope that the Sony wasn't listening in at that particular point in time. This is why people are so outraged over this. This is why their mass negative reviews are coming in, and this is why a lot of people are also recommending that you try to refund Helldivers 2. Now, here is the thing, they did require the signing up to the PlayStation Network before launch. When they are saying that the linking requirements to be temporarily optional, that is true. Now, they weren't making it very clear. It's a tiny little box off to the side on your Steam screen. It's not very obvious in the slightest. And so if you bought the game not thinking that this was necessary, and then got the seemingly optional opportunity to sign up to the PlayStation Networks for whatever reason, it would be plenty easy to argue that you had no actual idea that this was a literal requirement, as the game simply continued to allow you to play without it. But now, here's the thing too. The legality of this is highly dubious. First and foremost, terms of service are not binding contracts by any stretch of the imagination and will almost certainly be thrown out of any court in the world. And secondly, can you retroactively introduce an absolute requirement like this? When you have made it an optional requirement, can you then say, oh, actually, sorry, it's not optional anymore. We know you've bought the game, we know you've played the game, we know you have passed your refund window, crucially, but we are now going to reinforce this requirement, which will lock you out of the game, which will take all of your progress from you, and incidentally, not only your purchase, but any microtransaction purchases as well away from you. This could very easily, of course, be abused in the future, as companies are becoming more and more aware that DEI nonsense and other terms of service-related legalistic nonsense like this, where they're essentially trying to, write the law of the conduct on the platform down to the very way you speak to your friends and make that the legal way of doing it. People are going to reject it, obviously, again. You can now simply just go, oh, it's not a requirement, and then 6 months after release, now it is a requirement. What are you going to do? You've already put money down into the game, you've already made the majority of the sales. We've got you by the balls now, we've got your money, we have your microtransactions, all the time you've invested, all of the unlocks you've created, all of that. We own that now. We are holding you by the balls. Submit to our demands or else. This is obviously extortion in the most blatant way imaginable. Now, I would recommend anyone who thinks that being extorted by a company is not a good thing to stop playing the game, at least. Or even better, to ask for refunds. The only way in which this can actually deliver a telling message to Arrowhead and to Sony is to take back your money, to cancel your purchase. Now, whether or not it will be allowed will be interesting to see, as this is not technically a contractual change, even though it is not legally enforceable as a contract, the TOS, but Steam has been known to give refunds to things like these in the past. So I would certainly recommend that everyone try to do so, because if you don't, here's the thing. I've said this many, many times before, and I've been right every single solitary time. If you let a corporation get away with screwing you once, guess what? they are going to screw you twice. In fact, screwing you will not merely be an incidental incident, it will be written into their contractual agreements. If you ever allow a company to do something scummy, it will not merely be done to you again, it will become standard industry operating practices. Do bear that well in mind before you consider playing more Helldivers or not asking for a refund. Until next time, I have been Arch. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.